Concentration. Focus like a hawk on its prey by using secret concentration techniques. By Tyler Borden. Narrated by Angie Negus. Chapter 1. More about concentration. Where does concentration begin? As far as the brain is concerned, concentration is thought to begin in the frontal lobe of the brain. This process begins from infancy and continues till the day we die. Unlike focus, which involves being aware of something in general, concentration is all about isolating a particular task or situation or object and paying attention only towards it. Concentration involves paying attention, recognizing the object of attention, and understanding the object of attention as well. You don't simply look or think. It is a combined process of various cognitive functions coming together and in a way dissecting the task or object at hand. Concentration can be developed and paid at different levels. So there is scope for growth in the level of concentration. It's like peeling away the layers to reach the core of something. It takes a little bit more concentration to peel away each layer till we finally get to the very crux. Let us now understand why there is a need to concentrate on something and what all other benefits it yields. In the end, we shall take a look at some methods to better build concentration. Need to concentrate. To get things done, to complete tasks. To stay on track with our work. To be able to understand every aspect of our work. To complete our work to the best of our abilities. When we concentrate, we put our entire mental prowess into understanding something, which in turn helps us analyze and solve problems in a better way. That is why when we try to solve mathematical problems, we need a little more concentration than usual. Our mind has to work that little bit harder to analyze and solve the problems at hand. We all have the ability to concentrate some of the time. But at other times our thoughts are scattered and our minds race from one thing to another. To deal with such times, we need to learn and practice concentration skills and strategies. To concentrate, we have to learn a skill, and as with any skill, this means practice repeated day after day until we achieve enough improvement to feel that we can concentrate when we need to. If you remember, I once spoke of the mind and the thoughts, explaining the mind as a rock and the thoughts as flowing water. The more the thoughts hit the mind, the deeper the lines that fall. With concentration, we are doing something like that. We are constantly hitting the mind with a single thought or a single stream of thoughts, which ultimately have a lasting impact. When we concentrate, the brain tends to get exhausted, and very soon it is too tired to stay on track anymore. At such times, we realize the importance of expanding our horizons and concentrating more. Many people somehow think that meditation is concentration, or vice versa, but it is not so. In fact, meditation helps you achieve concentration. How to attain concentration? Exercise and meditation are the keys to improve concentration. There are many techniques that can help. 1. First things first, decide what you want to concentrate on. It has often been noticed that you reflect what you perceive. You start impersonating someone's way of talking, walking, or the way they eat in a matter of a couple of minutes just by concentrating on the act. 2. Avoid multitasking. It is always good to be proficient, but there is a difference between proficiency and multitasking. Being proficient means giving your best to successfully complete a task. This is attainable through concentrating on one task at a time. The time you consume thereby is significantly less. Whereas when you multitask, you are distributing your attention on more than one activity, and therefore you are not able to concentrate on one particular task. It definitely increases the chances of errors, and the amount of time consumed is high, which in turn reduces your productivity. So you should ensure that whatever you do, you should put your full heart and mind into it. 3. Key to deep concentration, stay calm. Deep concentration is a matter of increasing or directing your life force or conscious, cosmic energy. The more you have this kind of energy, the better. Scattered energy doesn't help. It must be calm, focused energy. Learn to be calmly concentrated. Rushing into things, bumping into goaded thoughts often leads to overexcitement and exertion. Your thoughts flicker, your concentration breaks. So it is always worthy to keep your eye right at your goal and stay calm. 4. Parameterize your energy. One such technique is Paramhansa Yogananda's energization exercises. Controlling your energy is an important first step toward the ability to concentrate deeply. 5. Take breaks. Take a stroll, walk on the grass, inhale the freshness of the air, the smell of the flowers, the cool breeze, and relax. Make yourself do this often, and you'll be able to return to your task recharged and be ready to focus more creatively. 6. Practice concentration. How can you practice concentration? It can be done by doing some exercises. Meditation is the most powerful of all concentration enhancement techniques. Learn a few simple meditation techniques and practice them at least 5 minutes daily. Sit in a place where you can be all by yourself. Practice focusing on an object. Stare at it continuously and find its intricacies. 7. While meditating, watch your breaths. Loosen yourself. Experience the calmness of your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Just observe. This teaches you to focus your mind on one thing at a time. As you observe your breath, it will slow down along with your mind. This is scientifically well documented. And you move into a dynamic, peaceful, but not sleepy, state of mind. Your mind will become rejuvenated and creatively receptive. 8. Switch between complex and easy tasks. To not lose the track, it is always desirable to switch between tasks which demand less focus and the ones that demand high focus. Playing Call of Duty requires much more attention than watching a movie. When you toggle between such tasks, you contemplate the tasks better. 7 steps to total concentration. Observe a child playing. You'll see a model of 100% concentration. Observe lovers talking to each other. You'll see 100% concentration. Observe a person reading an interesting storybook. Again, you'll see 100% concentration. What is common among these 3 cases? Love. They are in love with the task at hand. So the easiest way to achieve total concentration is to love what you do. But how to love everything we do, as all tasks are not as lovable as a play, lover, or a story? Don't worry. Apply the following steps. You can control your wandering mind and can focus it on whatever task you need to complete. Step 1. Prepare yourself to concentrate 100%. Following tips help. Keep your body in a comfortable position to allow proper blood circulation and breathing. Drink water, see that you're not hungry, and take a few deep breaths and relax yourself. Make sure that others do not disturb you till the work is finished. Declare to yourself that you are going to pay full attention to the work at hand. Step 2. Develop deep interest toward the task on your hand. How? Follow these tips. 1. List or know all the little or big advantages or benefits you get when you successfully complete the task, learning a lesson, or completing homework. 2. Know the consequences of not completing the task at hand. That is, the pain or loss you're going to suffer. For example, not achieving your career dream. 3. Use affirmation with feeling. I love to read, learn, listen to, name of the task, with full concentration. This information or task is so useful to me. Step 3. Engage other relatives of concentration, as it can't work for you alone. Here are some important relatives of concentration. 1. Clear purpose. Know exactly why do you want the task done. 2. Strong desire to fulfill the purpose. 3. Commitment to complete the tasks related to achieving the purpose. 4. Believe that you can do whatever you've to do and reach your goal. 5. Expectation. Expect that you can concentrate 100% and master the topic or key. Step 4. Stop negative programming and do positive programming. Don't ever think, say, or imagine that you can't concentrate 100%. Instead, before starting the task, imagine you're doing it with full concentration. This takes only a few seconds. Step 5. Use this strange property of your brain to concentrate 100%. Salespersons, advertisers, good teachers use this property to attract and hold your attention. So what is this strange property? They ask a series of probing questions. Your brain goes to search mode whenever it hears a question and it is hooked on the topic. They fire another question by the time your brain finishes the search and is ready to jump to some unrelated thought. You may have proof for this with you. For example, you're talking with some friends. Questions and answers are flying from one brain to another. A friend asks a question to another, but your brain jumps to answer even though you've not been asked that question. Take another example, reading a story. Why we read stories with total concentration? Because a good story raises many direct or indirect questions in your brain, and your brain wants to find answers to all those questions. Till your brain finds answers to all those questions, it even postpones reminding you to take food. Remember, you've many times told your mother, "I'll eat later, I'm not hungry." Why? Because you can't put down that book till you find what happened to that hero or heroine. You can use this property of your brain to concentrate while studying or hearing lectures. How? Just keep asking questions, mentally, like what, why, where, how. On each of the statements are facts or characters expressed by the teacher or lecturer or the author. When you engage your brain with these questions, you keep your brain engaged on the topic. It doesn't get time to jump to another topic. Incidentally, this is the easiest, fastest, and most effective way for students to concentrate 100% in classroom or while studying. By using this method, students learn more on the topic being taught or read. Step 6. Work when you work, and play when you play. It is the age-old advice, valid forever. When you follow a time schedule for all your activities, it becomes easier to concentrate. When you watch TV, don't think of studies. It's a bad habit. Just enjoy the program. When you eat, concentrate fully on food, its taste, aroma, its value for your body, and so on. This discipline helps you to concentrate fully whenever you want. Step 7. Mix these 3 ingredients to make total concentration effortless. Here are those 3 ingredients. 1. Knowing what you really want in life. 2. Having strong intention to get the thing you want. 3. Repeatedly paying attention to all the tasks that takes you near to your goal. Now relate the task at hand to your goal. You'll be able to concentrate fully with minimum wandering of your thoughts. If the task cannot be related to your goal, then think whether it can be avoided. If it can't be avoided, treat it as a social service and decide to do it with all the love you can generate. If it can't be avoided, treat it as a social service and decide to do it with all the love you can generate. Above steps help you to some extent to fully concentrate. You can improve your ability to concentrate 100% naturally and make it your habit by learning more about your brain and how to use it smartly. Start increasing your concentration level today with the above steps. If you want more powerful information to raise your concentration power, memory power, and learning skills, you will get many practical, easy methods in our Success Mindbar course. Chapter 2. How to increase your concentration power. Before we delve deep into the topic, let me narrate a story to you from the life of Swami Vivekananda to give you an idea of the power of concentration. Once in America, Swami Vivekananda was watching some boys. They were standing on a bridge trying to shoot at eggshells that were floating on the river. The eggshells bobbed up and down. The boys could not hit any of them. They fired the gun many times, but always missed the target. They noticed that Swami Vivekananda was watching them. So they called out to him, "Well, you are watching us. What do you think we can do better?" Swami Vivekananda smiled and said, "I will try." Then the boy said, "It's not so easy as you think." Swami Vivekananda took the gun and aimed at the eggshells. He stood very still for a few minutes. Then he fired the gun. He fired 12 times, and every time he hit an eggshell. The boys were surprised. How could any man shoot eggshells like that, they thought. They said to Swami Vivekananda, "Well, mister, how did you do it? You must be a practiced hand." Swami Vivekananda laughed and assured them he had never handled a gun before. "Whatever you are doing," he explained, "the secret of success lies in the power of concentration. Put your whole mind to it. If you are shooting, your mind should only be on the target. Then you will never miss. If you're learning your lessons, think only of the lesson. The power of concentration is the only key to the treasure house of knowledge." How to improve your concentration. 1. Understand what concentration is. Concentration is taking your mind off many things and putting it on one thing at a time. 2. Watch other people concentrating. Go see a good action movie. In the middle of it, look around at the people in the theater. What are they doing? They are absolutely still, eyes barely blinking, and their breath is slower. It would take a really major distraction to break their attention stream. These physical signs may give you a hint about ways to increase your own concentration abilities. 3. Avoid constant sensory input. Multitasking, trying to do more than one thing at a time. Loud noises and visual stimulation, such as from a TV, make concentration much more difficult, and being around them or doing them too much can put you into a habit of non-attention, which can be hard to break. 4. Make a point to put your full concentration on whatever you are doing. Don't let anything distract you. It really helps to be in a quiet place, but you can learn to block out outside noise if necessary. 5. Stay calm. Deep concentration is a matter of increasing or directing your life force or conscious cosmic energy. The more of this kind of energy you have, the better. Scattered energy doesn't help. It must be calm, focused energy. Learn to be calmly concentrated and be concentratedly calm. Learn techniques to increase and control your energy. One such technique is Paramhansa Yogananda's energization exercises. Controlling your energy is an important first step toward the ability to concentrate deeply. 7. Take breaks. Go outside and breathe deeply or take a brisk walk. Make yourself do this often and you'll be able to return to your task recharged and ready to focus more creatively. 8. Learn to meditate. Meditation is the most powerful of all concentration enhancement techniques. Learn a few simple meditation techniques and practice them at least 5 minutes daily. 9. While meditating, watch your breath. Don't control it in any way, just observe. This teaches you to focus your mind on one thing at a time. As you observe your breath, it will slow down along with your mind. This is scientifically well documented, and you move into a dynamic, peaceful, but not sleepy state of mind. Your mind will become recharged and creatively receptive. 10. Take rest. The biggest factor affecting concentration is rest, and this has been proved by research. Concentration requires your mind to be calm, but your mind will be scattered if you are not well rested. Make sure that you get the right amount of sleep at the right time. Also have regular sleep time, as this can be a key step for concentrating. 11. Choose a place of your choice for concentration. Obviously, some places are better than others. School libraries, study lounges, and private rooms are the best. Above all, the place you choose should not be distracting. Try to stay away from other people if you want to concentrate on your work. 12. If you want to master the arts of concentration, develop a controlled and balanced diet. Overeating creates a huge surge of digestion and can make you feel uncomfortable and sleepy. Eating light and healthy meals can help you maximize your ability to concentrate. As Thomas Jefferson said, we rarely regret eating too little. It's likely you'll find that you need less food to satisfy yourself than you think. 13. Exercise frequently. The ability to concentrate depends a lot upon our physical well-being. If we are tired, unhealthy, and afflicted by numerous minor ailments, concentration will be more difficult. Of course, concentration is still possible, but it is just more difficult. 14. Help improve the flow of oxygen to the brain. Blood is the main vehicle of oxygen in our bodies. But blood gets pooled in the lower half of our bodies as the result of gravity and doesn't push as much oxygen to the brain, where it helps improve concentration. In order to help oxygenate the brain, get up and take a walk every so often to get the blood pumping. 15. Practice doing one thing at a time and doing it to completion. If you jump all over the place and start a new project before you finish the last one, you're telling your brain that it's okay to switch from one subject to another. If you really want to improve your concentration, you'll start trying to convince your brain to finish one task before you move on to the next one. 16. Do work at a desk, not your bed. Your bed is where you sleep. Your desk is where you work and concentrate. Your mind makes these sorts of associations subconsciously, which means that you're sending a sleep signal to your mind if you're going to try to work in your bed. Which means that you're sending a sleep signal to your mind if you're trying to work in your bed. This is counterproductive because you're actually asking your brain to do two things at once, concentrate and sleep. Instead, ask your brain to either concentrate or sleep by choosing your workstation carefully. 17. Try the 5 or more rule. The 5 more rule is simple. Whenever you feel like quitting or losing concentration, tell yourself to do 5 more of whatever you are doing. If it's math problems, do 5 more problems. If it's reading, do 5 more pages. If it's concentrating, do 5 more minutes. Find the energy deep within to do 5 more of whatever you were doing. 18. Try the keywords technique. In this simple technique, the only thing you have to do is find the right keyword on what you are studying or doing, and whenever you lose concentration or feel distracted or your mind wanders to something else, start saying that keyword repeatedly in your mind until you come back to the topic at hand. The keyword in this technique is not a single fixed word, but keeps changing according to your study or work. There are no rules to select the keyword, and whichever word the person feels that it will bring back his concentration can be used as the keyword. Improving concentration for better performance and increased memory. We cannot concentrate on all things at all times. Many times our minds waver or we are scattered by many thoughts passing by. The good news is that many techniques can be used to improve concentration to help us perform better. Concentration is needed in almost everything we do in our day-to-day lives. From cooking, driving, and eating to performing major tasks at the office, we need a focused mind to finish the work. Even children need to improve concentration to excel in their studies. Without this, many times we can even meet with fatal consequences. For example, many fatal road accidents happen when the drivers lose concentration. Therefore, improving concentration is very vital in everyone's life. Improving concentration through meditation. Meditation is often considered as the best option for improving concentration. It helps us to improve concentration by training the mind to focus on one single object or thought. It is like mental training or an exercise through which we can train our minds to improve concentration. Practice makes everything we do perfect. Hence, regular meditation can help us in a great way. Get training through an experienced master or start meditating regularly to improve concentration. Memory games to improve concentration. Many memory games will help in improving concentration. For many centuries, chess has been considered as a mind game used to improve concentration. Watching the players in a chess match reveals people deep in thought concentrating on the game's moves. This game is a memory game that helps in improving concentration. Many other games such as word puzzles, Sudoku, and mind maze are some of the games that help players concentrate on one particular aspect such as words, numbers, or spatial relationships. Playing games such as these regularly will improve concentration power drastically. We need concentration in our daily work. If we lose our ability to concentrate, then the consequences might be very embarrassing. We have all seen absent-minded people around us. Students fail to excel in their exams because of lack of concentration. Workers get into accidents when they lose their concentration at work. Therefore, improving concentration is very vital. We have to train our minds to concentrate and focus on what we do. Many people, luckily, recognize the importance of better concentration, as they are always looking for ways to improve concentration. Having a healthy diet, practicing yoga, and breathing exercises can help in improving concentration a lot. Regular physical exercise and overall mental health also helps in this. Thus, a balanced lifestyle with some daily techniques such as meditation and memory games can help improve the concentration and, with it, enhance the performance levels in our day-to-day lives. Chapter 3. Easy ways to improve your concentration. The following are tips on how to improve concentration. Take one thing at a time. Concentration, by definition, is the process of taking your mind off many things and putting it on one thing at a time. There is no point trying to do so much at once. You will end up not giving your best and ignoring other projects. For instance, during a lecture, you cannot listen to the lecturer while texting with your girlfriend about what panties she has on. Either you will end up not listening to the lecturer or not giving your girl the attention she needs. In this case, we all know the lecturer is the one who will be ignored. Work in a concentration-friendly environment. One thing that will determine your level of concentration is the kind of environment you are working or reading in. Your concentration ability will definitely be interfered with if you are working in a noisy, smelly, or a place that has flashing light patterns. Your physical, mental, or emotional state also dictates your concentration power. You cannot expect to be fully alert when sick or experiencing emotional stress. Be sure to be physically and emotionally fit, fatigue-free, and in a suitable environment before you start working or studying. Practice some concentration enhancement techniques. Get to learn a few of these techniques like meditation and do them daily for 5 minutes. The first thing you have to teach yourself when mastering the art of meditation is how to watch your breath. It doesn't have to be controlling it, no. Just observe it. This will train you on how to be able to take your mind off many things and putting it into one, in this case, your breathing. As you watch it, you will realize that it calms down, and your brain too will calm down eventually. This will make you transcend into a peaceful state of mind. Conquer this, and you will be able to conquer concentration. The power of concentration, how to manifest what you want. When it comes to manifesting what you want, nothing beats focus and clarity. Yet most people can't get clear or remain focused long enough to get what they want. They keep changing their minds or getting distracted, losing concentration and frittering away their manifestation power. Here's how to gain real concentration so that you can manifest what you want. Concentrating can help you manifest much faster because it helps you keep focused on the next step. If you know people who get what they want, you may notice they are very good at keeping concentration for longer periods of time compared with those who seem to struggle to get what they want. Here are the steps to increase your concentration to tap into your true power to manifest your desires. First, get rid of distractions. We live in a time of constant distractions. You get pulled from your concentration and lose your ability to manifest what you want by TV, mobile devices, and the internet. Clear away anything that might distract you from your concentration. Exit email. Forget Facebook. Turn off Twitter. Silence your cell phone. Stop texting. If you're concerned that you might miss something, set a timer to go off in 15 minutes, or longer. Better yet, set it for 90 minutes, a magic length of time that allows you to concentrate and create quickly. Second, get comfortable. Have everything you need, set and ready to go. Take a bathroom break, get some water, assemble anything you need to create what you have in mind. You want to keep complete concentration, not have to break it to get something necessary. Get comfortable in your space, knowing that you will be able to concentrate and manifest what you want. Third, clear your mind. Slowly close your eyes and take 3 deep, slow breaths. On the first breath, relax as completely as you can. On the second breath, clear out your mind of any thought by just focusing on the feeling of the air leaving your body. And on the third breath out, notice how good it feels to take a few seconds to stop and breathe. Now you're ready to tap into your power of concentration to manifest what you want. Open your eyes, smile, and look forward to concentrating on manifesting what you want. Fourth, decide what you really want. What do you want to manifest? It doesn't matter if it's a feeling or relationship or an object or an experience. It's your desire. The only rule is you must focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Concentrating on what you don't want sends your energy in the wrong direction. Manifestation works in creating new outcomes, not eliminating unwanted outcomes. Choose one thing that is top of mind for you. If you have a list of things you want to manifest, choose to concentrate on the one that gets you the most excited. Leave the others for later. There's plenty of time to get to them later. What do you desire that you could put all your energy into getting? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you couldn't care less and 10 is you could work round the clock to do it, how excited do you feel about your desire? Desires that are a 10 become much easier to manifest than a 9. Anything less than a 5 will take a very long time, if ever, because you'll find it difficult to concentrate enough to bring them into being. 5th, write down your desire. Writing all these things down speeds your process because most people can't write about an idea and simultaneously think about a different idea. Writing increases your concentration power. Be as specific as you can. The more details you can get, the easier you can concentrate and the faster you'll manifest what you desire. For example, if you want to manifest a car, describe it in every way you can. Describe the color, the brand, the model, the feel of the steering wheel, that great new car smell, the sound of the stereo, the reaction from your friends when they see you pull up in a new car, the feeling you get as you drive down the street. The more ways you can describe your desire, the easier it becomes to concentrate and make it so. 6th, get clear on why you want it. If you aren't completely committed to manifesting your desire and it's what you really want, work on finding more reasons why you want it. Write down as many as you can think of. Don't worry what others would think about your reasons. They can be selfish or selfless. It doesn't matter. It's your desire. And the reasons are the fuel for your concentration. 7th, write down the steps to get there. Now that you are in complete concentration on what you want, you can feel the inspiration building. Write down the steps that come to mind to get you there. You don't have to have a complete plan. Just the first few steps are enough to get you started. Begin with what you know and trust that your concentrated energy will bring you everything you need to manifest what you want. Everything will become clear at the right time as you take concentrated action. Even if you don't get everything right, you'll learn from these detours and quickly make corrections to get you where you want to go. For example, when you drive your car down the road, you don't know every move of the wheel in advance of your trip, but you know what to do in the moment. At night, your car's headlights only shine out a few hundred feet, but it's enough to get you to your destination, showing you what you need to know at the moment you need to know it. 8th, take the next step. Repeat the first 3 steps of this process and start with the next step on your manifestation list. You'll be shocked at how quickly you can manifest what you want when you use your power of concentration and take action. Concentration and its effect on memory improvement. As the title hints, concentration does have an effect on memory improvement. A way to improve your memory is to improve your concentration. Now, focusing is the key here. To concentrate fully, you need to focus on what you're doing or thinking of. Focusing helps in memorizing, so when you need to try and remember any specific kind of information, focusing will have helped you do so a lot easier. The great news I have for you is that concentration is a mental skill that you, yourself, can improve. Now, the ways in which you can improve concentration are twofold. First, whatever the state of your surrounding is, you should try to step up the level of your brain's ability to concentrate. Put in another way, try to pay attention more than usual. Second, create a suitable environment for yourself to be able to concentrate a lot easier. Creating a suitable environment is very important when you engage yourself in an activity that requires your full attention. For example, trying to memorize a poem. Brain powering up. The process of improving concentration can take a bit of effort and time, but nevertheless can be something really worth doing. There are those who notice a difference in their ability to concentrate in just a short space of time. Some books covering the topic of neuroplasticity suggest that the way in which the adult brain is structured and operates is not set in stone as it always has been suggested by scientists. Quite to the contrary, whenever you learn something new, such as a skill, learn the new information by heart, or improve the ways in which you do things, your brain's connections and neurons are subjected to change and development. This discovery in itself is quite amazing, as it provides more evidence that the capabilities of your brain, including its ability to concentrate in a way that is already effective, can still be improved further. According to research, these changes do not take effect on the spot, though. For changes to really start to show, you have to keep working at it on a regular basis, because what you are doing really is literally reforming your brain. A question you probably have now is, how can I begin to improve my concentration? Which ways are most effective? An answer to that is to try fitting in new habits to your daily schedule that further increase your brain's power. Some of these habits are games that further enhance your concentration. Research suggests that the more certain skills are made use of, the stronger their presence in the brain is. So in relation to this, playing games that are based on concentration and games which needs focus can enhance the ability of your concentration. Adopting a healthier way in selecting the foods you consume. In order to focus properly, your brain should be provided with the nutrients that are proper. This includes the proper regulation of your blood sugar, as glucose is the most important nutrient consumed by your brain. Meditation. Try to meditate twice a day, about 5 minutes in the morning and another 5 minutes in the evening before going to sleep. If you're new to meditation, I suggest a great guide titled The Miracle of Mindfulness, the classic guide to meditation by the world's most revered master. It's in paperback by Thich Nhat Hanh, rated 5 stars out of 5. Sleep and rest. It is very necessary to get a lot of sleep and rest because without getting plenty of both, you'll be unable to focus on your next day's activities, which will likely lead to underperformance on your behalf. Creating the ideal environment. Apart from fitting into your daily schedule, the above-mentioned habit build an environment that helps you concentrate better when performing an activity which requires your concentration. Boost up your motivation by rewarding yourself. If the activity you're undertaking isn't exactly fun, but rather something you're really doing just because it needs getting done, then create a reward for yourself that'll make you more motivated as you continue your task. For example, if your favorite comedy is going to start in an hour, say to yourself that you really need to complete your task in order to be able to watch the sitcom in an hour. Thinking of the motivating event due to take place in an hour can help further motivate you and make you feel better as you come to completing your task. Avoid getting distracted. Bring to a stop any loud sounds that may distract you if it is not possible to change your location. You might be interested to find out that playing music as a soft and instrumental nature can affect positively on your concentration. It is well known that the human brain enjoys routine. Specialize a place in your environment to maintain activities which require your concentration. Try making it a habit to maintain the performance of the same kind of activities in that same place every day. Avoid performing activities such as your hobbies in places where your body and mind are used to other things taking place. For example, in your living room where your family gathers to watch TV, as this will make you lose concentration. The effect of colors on memory. This might sound unusual or strange even, but colors, according to a study, have an effect on the human brain. Green light, for one, improves concentration according to a recent study. So get buying those green bulbs and install them for use when it's dark. And if the green light's not working, get red instead. Yes, that's right, as another study indicates that red helps improve not only concentration, but also memory, and blue improves creativity. Importance of concentration for meditation. Often in modern life, we seek to try and do several things at once. Even if we are just doing one thing, we can find ourselves thinking about something else. However, concentration requires us to focus on one object at a time. For any activity, be it meditation, sport, or any type of work, concentration will help us to be more successful. To master meditation, it is essential we are able to be proficient in concentration. To learn the art of concentration, there are 7 things we need to bear in mind. 1. Concentration means we keep our awareness fixed on one object at a time. We must not allow our mind to be distracted by random thoughts. When we concentrate, we do not allow any thought to enter our minds, whether it is divine or undivine, earthly or heavenly, good or bad. The mind, the entire mind, has to be focused on a particular object or subject. 2. When trying to concentrate, it is helpful to have an object to look at. This object should be suitable for concentration. A good object would be a flower or a candle. A candle is good for concentration because we can focus on the tip of the flame. The flame also symbolizes light, a quality of meditation. We can begin our concentration exercise by looking at the candle and then gradually narrowing our gaze to just a tiny tip of the flame. 3. Using a mantra can help to focus our mind. Often our mind is restless, like a monkey. By creating a mantra, we can give our mind something to concentrate on. It is an easier form of concentration than something abstract. 4. The concentration we want to develop for meditation is different to mental concentration. Rather than using the concentration of the mind, we can concentrate from the spiritual heart. If we can feel our sense of awareness in our heart, then we will not feel a mental tension. If we do feel tension whilst concentrating, try to relax and use the power of the heart rather than the mind. 5. We should be patient in developing the power of concentration. If we cannot concentrate as we would like, we should not be discouraged. Concentration is like a muscle that gets stronger the more we develop it. What we can try and do is to concentrate for 2 minutes one day, and then try to increase that time in 1-minute intervals. This will give us a sense of progression. The most important thing is the quality of our exercises and not the length of time. When we practice concentration, nothing else should interfere. 6. A good object of concentration is for us to concentrate on our own breathing. In meditation, our breathing will be natural and spontaneous. If we can focus on our slow, regular breathing, then we will help to quiet the mind. 7. If thoughts are distracting you from your concentration, try this exercise. Feel your thoughts and separate them from your own reality. Be like an observer and do not pay any attention to them. Then they will lose their power. This enables you to concentrate on one thing and not get distracted by thoughts. When we are able to concentrate, when we can keep our awareness focused on one object at a time, we will be able to enter into real meditation. Meditation is not constrained by a small point of concentration. Meditation, in fact, embodies an unlimited expanse. As Sri Chinmoy says, when we concentrate, we have to concentrate on one thing in particular. When we meditate, we have to try to meditate our consciousness to encompass the vast sea or the vast blue sky. We have to expand ourselves like a bird spreading its wings. Chapter 4. The Art of Concentration. At times we say to ourselves, I must concentrate to finish this job. We know there are many times and situations within our daily life where it is necessary to concentrate to complete the job in hand. But how many of us really know how to concentrate, how to shut out all the distractions around us, how to be consciously aware of the task in front of us? The psychologist suggests that a man thinks of sex once every 30 seconds, which means, of course, he can concentrate on little else. And it is also a fact that when we do concentrate, it is quite often on a subject that is no good for us and has no lasting benefits. Yet we all instinctively know that if we are able to concentrate completely upon a subject, it would be achieved quickly and with a minimum of distraction. In fact, in those rare moments when we do completely concentrate, time itself seems to contract. There is also an inner sense of joy and accomplishment whenever the task is completed. Some call concentration an art, and being so, it can be learnt and practiced. Although the lessons and methods are fairly easy, they do require a sense of discipline. But if mastered, the benefits will be apparent throughout your life. Concentration also has an aspect about which most people are unaware. That is, when in deep concentration, we are also connected more closely with our subconscious. This in itself can bring much understanding into our life. Many religious and philosophical practices are designed in order to stop our conscious mind being aware of the many distractions around us while contemplating. Their procedures all have the one purpose of creating a deep connection initially to the subconscious and then to the higher spiritual realms. When we can fully concentrate upon a subject or a moment in time, this connection opens and becomes available to us. Closely associated with concentration is willpower. The relationship is totally dependent. Without one, you cannot have the other. Think of an athlete in an Olympic running final. His willpower has sustained him in his goal of reaching the final and eventually winning. But it is at that moment, just before the whistle blows, where he needs his full concentration. If he allows distraction, then all will be lost. The other competitors and all the spectators must be blocked from his mind. There are many other situations, with which I'm sure you can imagine, where both willpower and concentration are needed in equal parts. We all have abilities and talents that we rarely use to the fullest potential. We often think if I could just concentrate a little bit more, I might make a success of this particular project. Although this article can barely do the subject of concentration justice, the following exercises may be a starting point from which you begin a journey of self-discovery. We could apply concentration to each task that we perform during the day. This in itself would be beneficial. We would begin to experience an inner calm in the increasing chaotic world around us. Yet where the power of concentration can really help is when we apply it to a particular project or aspect of our life, a goal or desire that we wish to manifest. Thoughts have power. We know that when people experience fear, anxiety, or worry, the body can react, hair can turn gray, hearts can stop. In equal measure, thoughts of happiness and joy can light up our life. So the power of concentration can best be used on goals and desires that enhance our lives. Using concentration in such a way allows us to create our own reality. We take control of our life. There are many ways in which you can use the power of concentration. Here are but a few. The breaking of bad habits. Business projects, especially if you are self-employed. Moral characteristics you may wish to strengthen or create. The acquisition of wealth. A new romantic partner or strengthening your existing relationship. While performing the following exercises, you should have steady, deep breathing, but do not exert yourself. During meditation, deep breathing helps the mind to remain still and calm. In fact, a good exercise is simply to concentrate on your inhale and exhaling. While doing so, you let any thoughts that arise from your mind to just drift on by. Do not think about them, just let them go. Exercise 1. Take a simple thought, for example, health. Think of yourself in full health. Think of that warm glow, that relaxed feeling you have when you're feeling healthy. Try to maintain this thought for as long as possible. Don't let other thoughts intrude. Concentrate completely upon yourself. This is a good exercise to start with, as it is not specific, as it will allow only thoughts and images about yourself to intrude upon your mental process. Exercise 2. Hold your arm out in front of you at shoulder height. Raise your hands slightly so you can see your fingernails. Concentrate upon your fingernails, trying to keep your arm steady for at least 1 minute. Each time you perform this exercise, try to extend the concentration time a little longer until performing the exercise for up to 5 minutes. Each time you perform this exercise, try to extend the concentration time a little longer until performing the exercise for up to 5 minutes. Do this exercise with both arms. Exercise 3. Take a glass of water and hold it in front of you. Fix your attention upon the top of the glass. Try to keep your arm as steady as possible. Concentrate upon the ripples. Your aim is to see no ripples, no movement within the water at all. Exercise 4. This exercise can be performed by either standing or sitting. Take a piece of plain paper and draw a visible dot in the center. Place the paper on the wall in front of you and concentrate upon the dot. When you are relaxed, imagine the air that you are breathing in is coming from the dot, and the air you are exhaling is going into the dot. Start performing this exercise for at least 5 minutes and increase up to at least 20 minutes. Exercise 5. There is no time limit set upon this particular exercise, but if practiced on a regular basis, can open your mind to its inner potential. Take a clock, one you can hear ticking. Your aim is not to concentrate on the ticks, but upon the spaces between the ticks. As you gain experience with this exercise, you may notice that the ticks begin to dissolve in your mind and the time between the ticks becomes extended. But the longer you can perform this exercise and the deeper you can concentrate while doing it, your perception of time begins to disappear. The exercise is completed in no time at all. It is only after an extensive use of these exercises that we begin to appreciate the benefits of concentration. Like learning to ride a bike, once we have mastered the art, it is something that never leaves us. Improve your concentration level with the help of meditation. Loving what you do. Concentration is said to be high on what you love to do. Without loving something, we cannot concentrate more on it. Doing meditation might increase the level of concentration you have. While meditating, you should focus on something which needs concentration. By focusing on something like that, you will focus your energy between your mind and the thing which you are focusing on. Enhanced focusing might lead to falling in love with it, which will lead to better concentration. Practicing yoga daily. Practicing yoga daily will help you relax and helps your muscle ease tension. Muscle ease tension. When you are stressed about something, you cannot concentrate on anything. Doing yoga regularly might help in concentrating better. Breathing techniques for betterment. Breathing techniques help in a huge way. When you inhale and exhale, you should start concentrating on it deeply. Once you get the art of concentration with your breath, it will become very easy for you to apply the same technique for concentration on anything you need. Eating healthy. Eating habits are said to affect your concentration. Studies have proven that eating unhealthy food might lead to a lack of concentration, so it is very important to choose the food you eat very carefully. You should not eat anything which is not healthy just for the sake of taste. Sleeping well. Sleeping is the most important thing which is necessary for a human body to function well. If a person doesn't get the quality sleep he needs, it will lead to stress and anxiety. So people should sleep well daily and should have the same sleeping pattern to avoid stress. Peaceful thoughts. Having something in mind will lead to poor concentration. While you want to do some work, it is important to focus only on that. You should be able to filter the unwanted thoughts out. For better concentration, and this is possible with meditation. Chapter 5. Some simple and valuable tips to improve your concentration. Many people give up if they are frustrated. However, this is not very good practice if you want to improve concentration. Your mental endurance and the ability to concentrate will improve only if you try to concentrate when the brain is fully tired. Pushing the brain this way helps to improve mental stamina. Being in a confused state is the biggest cause for lack of concentration. Cultivate the habit of concentrating on one single task at a time. If you are overloaded with too many tasks, note down all of the tasks to be done. This will clear your brain and help you to improve concentration by focusing on one single task. Procrastination is another major cause for lack of concentration. Postponing a task means allotting a certain amount of brain space to that task. Now, if you indulge in another task, you will subconsciously worry about the postponed task at that same time, and you will not be able to concentrate totally on the current job. So, to improve concentration, quit the habit of postponing jobs. Eyes are also a major cause for poor concentration. Wondering how? The brain starts to think about whatever the eyes view. You can improve concentration by reducing how much of your surroundings are visible to your eyes. An easy way to accomplish this is cupping your hands around your eyes and concentrating on the task in front of you. For example, your eyes can only view the book if you read by cupping your hands around your eyes. Improve concentration by keeping your focus on one particular picture for at least 2 minutes without any distractions. Make sure your mind does not wander here and there away from the picture. After about 1 month of practice, you can very easily concentrate on whatever the task you wish to perform. This is actually a form of yoga practice. In yoga practice, you will close your eyes and concentrate on your breathing. Stress is yet another cause for poor concentration. If your mind is filled with various different thoughts, you will be confused and unable to concentrate. A simple mind exercise that enables you to empty your mind helps in improving concentration. Just stay calm for 5 to 10 minutes without thinking of anything. This might be very hard in the initial days, but once you master it, you can get rid of stress and concentrate on your activities very easily. There are easy methods that can help you to improve concentration. You can be successful if you constantly pay attention to the work you are doing or the job at hand. This requires a great deal of concentration, which itself requires a fair deal of time and effort if you have to develop it. You can improve concentration if you have the determination to achieve it by regularly making efforts to enhance it. There are a number of ways one can do this. Frustration is one reason why many people give up on their tasks or goals that they have set for themselves. This in itself is very detrimental if you are desirous of a result to improve concentration. Building up a mental endurance and developing an ability to concentrate is helped if you try to improve concentration. Building up a mental endurance and developing an ability to concentrate is helped if you try to improve concentration when your brain is already tired, as this helps to improve the mental strength required for you to improve concentration. One loses concentration if one is in a state of confusion. To get over this, one must develop a habit of tackling only one job at a time so that all efforts are concentrated on it. There may be a time when you are burdened down with many things to do, and it is best if you just make a list of the things to be done, set your priorities, and concentrate on one job at a time. This will give you a clear direction and enable you to go down the list of jobs by completing one after the other. Another reason why it is sometimes difficult to concentrate is a tendency of postponing the task at hand. While this may postpone any immediate problems connected with that task, the postponed task will remain in your subconscious mind and cause its own pressures. This will in turn have an effect on any job that you have taken up instead. This way both jobs will suffer from a lack of attention, so never postpone any tasks unless this is forced on you due to factors that are out of your control. A good way to improve concentration is to look at a particular picture for a couple of minutes. Let your mind concentrate only on that picture and what it contains, and not wander about with other thoughts. Practicing this for a couple of weeks can greatly help to improve concentration, and this eminently yogic practice can greatly help concentration. Yoga practitioners go about their efforts to improve concentration by breathing with their eyes closed. Your efforts to improve concentration can also be easily affected if you are in a stressful situation. This stress may cause your mind to wander and leave you confused. This immediately affects any efforts to improve concentration. There are ways to go about trying to enhance concentration by never letting any thought to enter your brain. Practice this by staying absolutely calm for about a quarter of an hour or less and ridding your mind of all matters. This is difficult and stray thoughts will intrude on your mind. Let the thoughts come and go and do not allow them to set up a train of ideas. Once you have mastered this art of getting away from stressful situations, you will find your concentration improving automatically. Another reason that prevents people in their task to improve concentration is a dearth of confidence. Remove all nervous fears about the job you have undertaken and instead imagine how things will be when you have successfully completed the task. Imagine ways of doing the job at hand before you buckle down to doing it, and you will find that you are able to concentrate on the job and complete it in the given time. Imagine ways of doing the job at hand before you buckle down and do it, and you will find that you are able to concentrate on the job and complete it in the given time. Chapter 6. Meditation is not concentration. Understand the basic difference between the two. There is a huge misconception among people about the real meaning of meditation. A lot of people, including those who are into yoga, for quite some time think that meditation is just another form of concentration. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth than this statement, which equals meditation with concentration. I often wonder how come people make such misconceptions about such a wonderful yet subtle thing like concentration to start comparing with meditation. Let us understand this in detail a bit to understand why meditation is not concentration. In concentration, you merely project your attention toward one form of activity or task. Concentration can be focused on anything. For studying, you need concentration. For driving, you need concentration. For eating, drinking, listening, talking, playing, or even walking, some sort of concentration is required. Now, the intensity of concentration in all of these activities varies. For eating or drinking, you need concentration, but not in great amount. These daily processes, like eating and drinking, have become so ingrained in our subconscious mind that we tend to do them almost automatically. But the fact remains that these processes also require some amount of concentration. For other processes, like driving or studying, the intensity of concentration increases. These processes require a constant flow of concentration to complete the task. Some tasks, like climbing the mountain or doing some aerobic jugglery, require even more focused concentration. But all in all, these tasks which require concentration are merely those tasks where we project our attention toward them. Just because these tasks required concentration does not mean that it is concentration which is at the core of everything, and for meditation you only need a pure level of intense concentration. In meditation, you require concentration, but concentration is not meditation itself. In meditation, you just remain aware of the moment without choosing anything to concentrate upon. In fact, meditation is an act where the knower knows the both, the observer as well as the observed. The person who concentrates on a particular activity, be it a lit candle, a mystic chart, or breathing itself, he will not only know the thing concentrated upon, the candle, the mystic chart, or breathing in this case, but he also knows the doer, that is, the person who is concentrating. So it becomes a threefold phenomenon when the observed, observation, and the knower become distinct. My intention to clarify that concentration is not meditation is not to tarnish the role of concentration in meditation. In fact, concentration is very much required in meditation, and in the initial phases it is extremely important. However, while relying on concentration to learn meditation, you must remember that concentration is not meditation. It is just a mean we use to attain the state of meditation. Guidelines for concentration and memory improvement. An imperative fact regarding one's concentration skill is the fact that it only takes about 8 seconds to completely focus on a particular item to relocate it from one's short-term to long-term memory. Hence, exercises for concentration play an extremely crucial role in your life. In essence, one of the biggest reasons behind not remembering something is due to the fact that you never actually stored it within your memory at all. People lose things like their house keys all the time by unconsciously putting them somewhere without paying proper awareness while doing it. In order to eventually locate the lost items, such as keys, most individuals have to exhaust a considerable quantity of time backtracking through the time when they had the keys and when they didn't. Now, if you'd been paying awareness, you would never have lost the keys or the glasses in the first place. Therefore, experts tend to focus upon learning how to increase memory and concentration. That is why one of the best ways to actually make a difference in regard to your memory is to augment your powers of concentration. Therefore, you're now aware of the fact that concentration improves your memory, which is why it is a wise idea to understand proper concentration augmenting techniques. Any individual's powers of concentration can be heightened through the implementation of two things. Either enhance your concentration powers, or simply just make some necessary adjustments within your daily environment in order to improve your memory. By modifying your surroundings to suit your brain's powers of concentration will not help in every situation, except when you want to study. You'll be surprised to discover that your brain is consistently changing as you grow older. For this rationale, assimilating knowledge is good for you because it augments your brain power. So before adapting particular techniques for concentration, you'll have to actually modify the shape of your brain. Changing the shape of your brain requires regular activities that can have a positive impact on your brain. These involve exercises such as meditation. Experts advise that an individual should meditate twice, including once before and once after getting out of bed. After adopting a daily meditation routine, you will greatly be able to concentrate more easily. Sleep. In order to maintain brain power and concentrate properly on things, you want to sleep properly. Thus, make sure you sleep properly every day. The choice of mattress that you use within your bed is significantly important to establishing a proper and relaxing sleeping pattern. One other thing to do is to remove the television from your room. If you go to sleep while watching a show, then you're definitely not sleeping well. Some folks tend to shout out what they're doing, and that has been known as a pretty effective method of boosting concentration. An example could be, "My glasses are on my desk." Television, radio, and other such appliances can also distract your concentration, making it difficult for you to remember things, which is why it is a good idea to remove them from your presence when doing something important. Some people also try to recall the names of the people that they meet every day after the end of each day as a concentrating, augmenting exercise simply because of the fact that concentration improves your memory. More often than not, our clothes and looks are more imperative for us to maintain when meeting someone new. Reading an article from a newspaper daily and then telling other people about it is an effective way to increase your concentration powers. You should be able to narrate the entire contents of the book to another person without forgetting anything. Trying to memorize written text is hard, because it is difficult for our brain to decode everything in one go. The best way to become a better reader is to increase your concentration levels by practicing harder. Some people also practice concentration skills by looking at something on their television and then narrating details to themselves. You have admirable concentration brain power if you can recall a lot of details. On the other hand, most of the memory improvement techniques that you'll come across will profess your ability to recall elaborate images and videos. Nonetheless, your concentration capacity has to be narrowed down to the things that matter rather than useless items. Generally, sticky notes are an awesome way of remembering things quickly and conveniently. The strength of a sticky note or post-it paper is negated if you forget the rationality why you wrote one down. Therefore, although information is represented through numerous ways, you must not forget the simple fact that if you're concentrating hard enough, you will be able to remember and recall most of what happens in front of you. Conclusion. The power of concentration is immense. It helps to retain even the trivial details. Once you attain the power of deep concentration, it will bear fruitful results for you. The power of concentration is the most important thing. Living without this would be like opening one's eyes without seeing anything. You become more aware, more responsive. Your productivity shoots up. Your acumen and sense of adaptation amplifies. It eventually makes you more attractive and confident. Attain the power of concentration. Attain yourself. These suggested methods to improve your concentration seem simple, but it's only regular practice and discipline that will take you to the goal of having improved your concentration. Lack of confidence is also a reason why people lack concentration. If you feel nervous about doing a particular job, visualize how to perform the task before actually doing it. This will allay all your fears. As a result, you can accomplish the task with great concentration in very less time. All the above tips seem deceptively simple, but they work very well for improving concentration when they are done with regular practice. Concentrating is more about a choice. If you've committed to do it, just do it. So first commit, and then you will find it happening.
Conscientiousness. How to do more in less time by unlocking the power of the mind. Written by Tyler Borden. Narrated by Thomas Cassidy. Introduction. Conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is one of the 5 personality traits of the Big 5 personality theory. A person scoring high in conscientiousness usually has a high level of self-discipline. These individuals prefer to follow a plan rather than act spontaneously. Their methodic planning and perseverance usually makes them highly successful in their chosen occupation. High conscientiousness means a person is responsible and reliable. Conscientiousness is about how a person controls, regulates, and directs their impulses. Individuals with a high level of conscientiousness on a career test are good at formulating long-range goals, organizing and planning routes to these goals, and working consistently to achieve them. Despite short-term obstacles they may encounter, other people usually perceive a conscientious personality type as a responsible and reliable person. However, individuals who score high in conscientiousness on a personality test can be compulsive perfectionists and workaholics. They might also be seen as being boring or inflexible. Take a free personality test to learn more about your occupational strengths and to test personality. Sub-traits of the conscientiousness domain. Each of the Big 5 personality traits is made up of 6 facets or sub-traits. To test personality, these can be assessed independently of the trait that they belong to. The sub-traits of conscientiousness are self-efficacy, orderliness, dutifulness, achievement striving, self-discipline, and cautiousness. Careers and conscientiousness traits. A high score of conscientiousness in a career test is an important indicator of success. One reason is that this domain includes the trait known as need for achievement. These individuals are dependable, organized, and persevere, which means they will accomplish their professional goals. Research shows that the conscientiousness personality trait relates to job performance across different types of occupations. That means that a person who scores high in conscientiousness on a personality test will be better suited to perform a job. Chapter 1. Conscientiousness, a successful leadership trait. Conscientiousness is that personality trait that paves the way for consistent success. It is further believed that such people live longer, have fewer strokes, lower blood pressure, and a lower incidence of Alzheimer's disease, which cannot be only attributed to the fact that they smoke and drink less. There is a staggering amount of research linking conscientiousness with success. Conscientious people earn higher salaries and have greater job satisfaction. Conscientiousness is also the most important factor for finding and retaining employment. Research shows that showing up on time, doing thorough work, and being thoughtful towards your colleagues helps people regardless of their job function or workplace situation. If you made your team undergo a basic personality test, it is highly probable that those people who are reliable who shall score high in conscientiousness. Conscientiousness, a personality trait, reflects the degree to which a person is dependable, responsible, perseverant, and achievement-driven. It specifically refers to the individual difference in the propensity to follow a socially prescribed norm for impulse control, to be task and goal-directed, to be a keen planner and delay gratification. It has been reported by researchers in organizational psychology that conscientiousness is not truly a single unitary entity, but is thought of as a conglomerate of certain specific traits and trait domains. Conscientious managers or leaders are found to be highly task-focused, carry a higher degree of concern for legal aspects and rules, be mindful of ethics, and hold their teams in high ethical standards, be driven for a need for structure. It has been observed by experts that these personality traits are not merely behavioral summaries. Rather, they are relatively enduring patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behavior that are manifested in situations that can accommodate traits. If you made your team undergo a basic personality test, it is highly probable that those people who are reliable, who shall score high in conscientiousness. A strong sense of conscientiousness results in a scrupulous, punctual, reliable, dependable, purposeful, organized, strong-willed, and a highly determined character. Unsurprisingly, research has demonstrated that people with these characteristics become great managers, since they ensure that things are achieved. Moreover, they pay attention even to the smaller details that spell the difference between success and failure. Therefore, there is always a tendency to get these folks on a management track early. There are at least 5 facets which can form components of conscientiousness: industriousness, orderliness, impulse control, reliability, and conventionality. Competencies of emotional intelligence. Ever since our childhood, we have been forced to believe in stories that always link success with intelligence. It has been deeply ingrained within us that success comes to those who achieve the highest scores, from preschool admissions to colleges. Paul Tough, in his book How Children Succeed, Grit, Curiosity, and the Hidden Power of Character, pitches in with the argument that the character-driven qualities such as self-control, perseverance, optimism, and curiosity are the ones that matter the most. He states that the above competencies of emotional intelligence are the ones that define the pathway to success. Tough also writes in his book that people who test high in conscientiousness get better grades in school and college, commit fewer crimes, and stay married longer. Conscientiousness drives success. Conscientious people tend to be super-organized, great planners, and are responsible. They work hard in the face of challenges and can control their impulses. They are better at setting goals and working towards them, as well as persisting amid setbacks. If an ambitious goal cannot be realized, they will switch to a more attainable one, rather than getting discouraged and giving up. As a result, they tend to achieve goals that are consistent with the expectations of the employers. They organize their lives well and are sticklers for punctuality. They make great employees. Why are highly conscientious people so successful? Highly conscientious employees do a series of things better than the rest of us, says Brent Roberts, the professor of psychology at the University of Illinois, who also studies conscientiousness. He states that they plan to achieve their goals better, setting them, working towards them, and persisting amid setbacks. If they realize that a highly ambitious goal cannot be achieved, instead of getting discouraged and losing hope, they will switch to a goal that can be achieved. This is one strong reason as to why they reach goals that are consistent with the aspirations of the employer. He further states that such people carry the grit and shall remain persistent in finding a solution to a problem after repeated failures, and traverse that extra mile to ensure that they achieve their aspirations. In addition, they plan, decide, and draft on paper and write down important dates. Highly successful people like Richard Branson carry a notebook in their pockets all the time. Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis has said, "Writing it down will make you act upon it. If you don't write it down, you will forget it." Once, when Richard Branson did not have his notepad with him, he wrote an idea down in his passport. Another research on conscientiousness demonstrated in a study by McCall, Spritzer, and Maloney in 1994, which was published in the Harvard Journal, identified 11 traits or dimensions for early identification of leaders. Inspired by this research, McCrae and Furnham, the HPTI authors, conducted further detailed research and found that 6 factors could be used as an indicator for measuring the potential for future leadership. From this research, they developed HPTI, which is both practical to use and statistically valid in predicting potential for leadership roles in the future at work. HPTI measures these 6 traits. Conscientiousness, adjustment, curiosity, risk approach or courage, ambiguity acceptance, competitiveness, the link to honesty and integrity. Psychologists classify conscientiousness as one of the big 5 personality traits, along with agreeableness, extroversion, neuroticism, and openness to experience. These people are dependable and are a lot less likely to back out, miss, or forget appointments. They rarely show up late and know that succumbing to convenience kills long-term goals, and that good things take time and hard work. Perhaps this is why conscientiousness is linked to honesty and integrity. In the Wadsworth temperament model, conscientiousness is equivalent to the engineer. People with this component make great employees. However, it can be a hindrance in a manager. Conscientiousness can make people monomaniacs. They find it difficult to multitask. In addition, they tend to focus on tasks and not on the people. And it is people skills that differentiate the successful manager. Finally, there is the major issue of decision-making. Conscientious people tend to get bogged down by the details, and therefore often the cost of making a decision outweighs future benefits. Therefore, it should be kept in mind that being conscientious can be detrimental to some jobs. It can translate to fewer tasks being done or taking longer to complete a set of tasks. In short, it is hard to be thorough and fast. Perhaps in some jobs being meticulous is more important than being fast. But this is not true in all jobs. This personality characteristic also involves appreciation of rules. However, at times following the rulebook can stifle innovation. There are some jobs where following the rule could interfere with productivity. Therefore, if you have a conscientious employee in your team, here are a few suggestions to help them develop their critical skills. Keep track of their assignments. Make sure that you are not loading them up with extra tasks just because you know that they will take care of them. Reward them. If you have overloaded your conscientious folks, reward them with some time and space to work on projects dear to them. That autonomy and appreciation strengthens their bond to the company. It also provides you with more opportunities to observe where their greatest contributions to the organization. The Big Five Super Trait: Conscientiousness. People high on conscientiousness are organized and dependable, and tend to aim for achievement through self-discipline and planned rather than spontaneous behavior. Are you wired for success? Studies have shown that the Big Five super trait conscientiousness can predict a person's success. To be conscientious is to be organized, principled, responsible, and a forward thinker. People who score high on this dimension are not impulsive, and they persevere when faced with challenges. The human tendency to regard little things as important has produced very many great things. Georg Christoph Lichtenberg. Do you have this type of personality? The other 4 dimensions of the Big Five theory of personality are agreeableness, extroversion, neuroticism, openness to experience. The benefits of being conscientious. Many studies have shown that high levels of conscientiousness accounted for better health, well-being, and higher productivity, which is why it's being used as a way to gauge a person's tendency to succeed, not just in their careers, but in life in general. Health. If you score high on this trait, you have lower addiction tendencies. You smoke and drink less and will avoid narcotics. Conscientious people are less impulsive. If you have a chronic condition, you will most likely get regular checkups and take your medicine on time. Organization and doing what's right is a trait of people with high levels of conscientiousness. This will be beneficial to your physical health and overall well-being. Career. Organized people pay attention to details. They are very seldom careless. They are goal-driven, and as employees, they tend to rise above their less conscientious counterparts. Achievers like this are valued by companies, so they get promoted faster and would have higher salaries. When faced with roadblocks, they persevere and double their efforts, enabling them to succeed on whatever they put their minds into. Relationships. Conscientious people would be more mindful of their partners. They love to do the right thing. Extramarital affairs would be something they'd frown at in principle. They are responsible. A conscientious man would be a good provider, and a conscientious woman can be a strong and positive influence to the relationship. What does the trait conscientiousness measure? When you take the conscientiousness test, what it measures is your tendency to control impulses, your competence, dutifulness, orderliness, achievement striving, and deliberation. People on the higher end of the scale of conscientiousness would be responsible and goal-oriented. They love making plans and they stick to it. They are organized and deliver on what they promise. The tendency to be reliable makes this trait highly desirable. Who doesn't want to be with a person you can rely on? If you are high in conscientiousness, you have an edge over other people. In school, you get better grades, and as an employee, you shine in the workplace. Within this super trait are 6 facts that can help you see a more detailed account of what makes you conscientious. Or not. The 6 facets of conscientiousness. 1. Self-efficacy. High score has confidence in their ability to reach goals and succeed. Low score feels ineffective and not in control of their lives. Orderliness. High score loves lists routine, and schedules. Very organized. Low score, disorganized, scatterbrained, always late. Dutifulness. High score, feels a strong sense of duty and moral obligation. Reliable. Low score, feels confined by rules, laws, contracts and regulations. Seen as irresponsible and unreliable. 4. Achievement striving. High score, high achievers, strives for excellence. Low score, not as ambitious, oftentimes seen as lazy. 5. Self-discipline. High score, strong ability to persist when doing unpleasant or difficult tasks. Stays on track despite distractions. Low score, procrastinates, often fails to complete tasks, even those that are desirable to them. Cautiousness. High score, deliberates before making decisions, takes consequences and alternatives into consideration. Low score, impulsive, does not think things through. People who score high on conscientiousness will have most of the following traits. Goal-driven and high achievers. Loves a challenge. Strong convictions. Certain. Hard-working and persevering. Neat, detailed and orderly. Often has a to-do list. Cautious and careful in all areas of their lives. Law-abiding and morally ethical. Does the right thing. High satisfaction with life. Plans and deliberates. Honors contracts and delivers on promises. Less prone to extramarital affairs, spousal abuse, and other negative behaviors in a relationship. Knows how to manage conflict. Responsible parents and partners. Conservative, loves to follow the norm. Thrifty and cautious. Tends to accumulate things. Pack rats. People who score very low on conscientiousness often have the following traits. Procrastinators. Seldom finishes tasks on time, if ever. Does not feel in control of their lives. Higher tendencies for substance abuse. May exhibit antisocial behaviors. Poor impulse control. Seeks immediate gratification. Prone to eating disorders, smoking, and alcoholism. Prone to developing chronic health conditions due to bad habits. Feels discontented. Poor quality of relationships. Less responsive, less mindful of their partners. Irresponsible and unreliable. Entertains liberal ideas and does not care about societal standards. Prone to excessiveness or reckless abandon. The downside of conscientiousness. Like everything else when taken to the extreme, conscientiousness can be debilitating. Since people who score very high on conscientiousness have higher goals, ambitions, level of motivation and sense of well-being, they may encounter a problem when faced with failure. Since their motivations and goals are a central part of their lives, failures such as unemployment will lead to decreased self-worth and even depression. The following are negative behaviors found in people with extremely high levels of this super trait. Prone to obsession and fixations. Can be excessively hard-working. Inability to relax. takes self too seriously, inability to accept failure, difficulty in adjusting, not flexible, close-minded and prejudiced, critical self-judgment, perfectionism, too high expectations. We may want to have the personality traits that can give us an edge on life, but we should remember that a well-balanced personality is more desirable than having a personality disorder. Knowing how you rate on the scale of conscientiousness will help you avoid the dark side of being too perfect. Are you being too hard on your loved ones and friends? Are you a hard-to-please boss? Do you spend very little time with your family? Are you obsessed with work? Do you even take time to enjoy life? Chapter 2. Conscientiousness Style. Disc. Meticulous and detailed C-style workers are invaluable assets to their respective teams. While they are not the most expressive individuals, the precision and quality of their work is unparalleled. Individuals of the C-style are analytical and detail-oriented. They take pride in working conscientiously to ensure the utmost quality and accuracy. Their careful nature is reflected socially in their diplomatic and tactful relationships with others. C-style individuals are extremely cautious and selective with their words. They are not overly expressive and prefer to let the quality of their work speak for itself. In order to achieve the high quality, C-style workers are meticulous in their preparation. They spend a great deal of time processing information and analyzing data. Their work ethic is so scrupulous that it may appear obsessive to some. So, how will you be able to identify C-style workers in a virtual environment? Here are your 3 tips. 1. Meticulous attitude. The meticulous nature of a C-style individual is very noticeable. When talking to them, you can sense the intensity of their focus. They are listening attentively to your every word and processing the information at the very same time. They will expect you to be comprehensive right down to the last detail. They will not be hesitant to ask you to clarify if uncertain. 2. Quality of work. As mentioned, the works from those of the C-style are of the highest quality. Conscientious workers put an immense amount of time and effort in all their works. As such, you will notice that the C-style workers typically go above and beyond the minimum requirements. You will also note their precision and superior accuracy. 3. Reserved. In meetings and conferences, you will notice that C-style individuals are not the quickest to respond or voice their opinions. This is due to their analytical nature, which requires them to process all available info, data, and facts before responding. The slow or lack of response is also attributed to their desire to be right. When not absolutely certain, C-style individuals will rarely voice an opinion voluntarily. Like the other styles, I have had my experiences with those belonging to the C-style. I once worked with a colleague that exuded conscientiousness like few others. She too worked in the professional training business. Being a C-style, each time she talked to an associate, she recorded the amount of time spent. She would then measure the productivity of the conversation in terms of learning new training methods or getting new clients from the associate. She systematically documented all this in an Excel spreadsheet. At year's end, she would open up the spreadsheet and compare the time spent to the productivity of the conversations. If the productivity was less than the time spent, she would discontinue her work with the associate. Though this was over the top methodical, it was truly effective and profitable for her career. In dealing with those of the C-style, here are 2 helpful tips. 1. Be detail-oriented. Knowing C-style individuals are detail-oriented, you yourself must pay attention to details. When talking to them, Be specific and take care to not overlook any intricacies no matter how frivolous they may seem. 2. Be patient. As alluded to previously, C-style workers need time to process all available information. They are slow to respond because they want to give the correct answer, not because they are disengaged. Be patient with them and you will be rewarded. You are now familiar with the last of the styles. I hope this will help you better your relationships with those of the C-style in your future virtual dealings. Please check out this week's podcast on our website for more information and tips. Around the World helps engage virtual team members through specialized techniques and exercises. How to live simply as a conscientious consumer. Down a supermarket aisle, a frazzled mom pushes a cart full of disposable diapers, plastic water bottles, and screaming kids. Being a parent is hard enough. Modern conveniences like big box stores, pre-packaged snacks, and disposable Tupperware seem to make life easier. But do they? It's not easy being green, but being a conscientious consumer just might make life simpler in the long run. As parents, we want the best for our planet because our kids will inherit the Earth. The extra effort we take to live more sustainably is our small gift to future generations. Being a conscientious consumer means we think about what we bring into our lives and how we use the items we already have. There are several schools of thought on the subject of minimal living. Project 333, the Minimalists, the KonMari method, etc. The main goal in all of these is to intentionally select a small number high-quality items to have in your life and let go of the rest. In this post, we will look at how to live simpler and be a conscientious consumer through purchasing thoughtfully, minimizing responsibility, and managing resources wisely. Purchase thoughtfully. Make thoughtful selections when buying new products. The deliberate curation of durable clothes, kitchenware, and home goods combats the throwaway culture of modern society. When objects last longer, less goes to the landfill. When we reduce consumption overall, less stuff is manufactured and less packaging is used. Avoid impulse purchases by making a list and sticking to it. If you see something you really want, add it to a future list. Later, research the product, ask yourself if you truly need it, and make an intentional decision. Purchase second-hand or handmade. We can still get use out of products that others are finished with. Thrift shops and garage sales can be a fun treasure hunt. Websites like Etsy.com host handmade and vintage items. Buy locally grown food and locally made products. This supports your local economy and reduces the carbon emissions used in transporting objects to and from other countries. Consider the packaging purchases come in. Avoid unnecessary, bulky packaging and go for recyclable. When possible, buy things in bulk to reduce package consumption. Just make sure you will actually use the bulk items. Bring a reusable coffee mug or water bottle instead of buying a disposable one. Bring a reusable shopping bag. Replace disposables with reusables. Bring along reusable items such as shopping bags, coffee mugs, and water bottles when going out. Cloths, napkins, and towels replace the paper variety. Go for cloth diapers rather than disposables. Reusable menstrual products are better for your body and the environment than disposable pads and tampons. Share and borrow household items that are used infrequently. Do you only need a ladder once a year when hanging Christmas lights? Borrow one from a neighbour rather than buying one yourself. Make it yourself. DIY all the things. When you take the time to make things at home, they have more meaning and value in your life because you understood the effort that went into their creation. You'll probably take better care of them too. Opt for safer cleaning. A conscientious consumer considers what they are putting into their home through cleaning products and what they are putting into their body and their children with personal care and beauty products. A great big bottle of Castile soap cleans almost anything, from the baby to the kitchen sink. Eat green. Making thoughtful dietary changes are healthier for your family and the environment. Buy local, in-season food from the local farmers market or CSA to cook it at home. Buy fresh, whole, organic food and limit pre-packaged processed food. Reduce the consumption of meat and eat more fresh fruit and vegetables. Choose sustainably caught fish and seafood, and of course, grow your own food. Even if you don't have much yard space, garden towers are space-saving options. Minimize responsibly. Even when purchasing thoughtfully, there still comes a time to get rid of stuff. With this simple living principle in mind, to use what you have and have what you use, think about what you truly need and let go of the rest. When minimizing clutter, do so responsibly. Try to limit stuff that winds up in a landfill. Remember that someone else may find value in the object you're getting rid of. For example, our automatic coffee maker stopped working, and I listed it for free on our local Facebook trading post. Another mum came and got it because her son liked taking apart and tinkering with appliances. The coffee maker stopped being useful to me, but it still served a purpose for someone else. Recycle. Take time to learn what can be recycled in your local area. Glass, paper and plastic are the norm. See who will recycle clothing, electronics, home goods, etc. Upcycle. Give old garbage new life. An empty oatmeal container can be a toy drum for your kids. An old t-shirt can be your new reusable shopping bag. Repurpose wooden pallets into planter boxes. Basically, the only limit is your own imagination. Compost. Feed eggshells, yard waste and kitchen scraps to a food digester, composter or pile. Donate. Find your local Goodwill or thrift shop. Your old items could still be useful to other people. Have a garage sale. Why not make a little extra cash off the items you're no longer using? Sell online. List items on eBay or Craigslist. Many areas even have a local Facebook group for selling and trading. Manage resources wisely. Purchased items is only one form of consumption. Consider other resources we use, such as transportation, energy, and water. How can individuals and families reduce their consumption of our planet's valuable resources? Find alternate transportation. Public transit availability varies wildly depending on location. Look into your area's transit system. When possible, bike or walk to get where you need to go. For longer trips where public transit isn't available, try to find a carpool. Let's say you do need a car. Driving a well-maintained older car, especially one with decent gas mileage, generally a greener option than purchasing a new one. Consider the environmental costs of manufacturing a new automobile and adding old cars to the junk pile. Consider the energy efficiency of your vehicle. Hybrid and electric cars are becoming cheaper and more readily available. Reduce home energy consumption. If possible, look into getting an energy audit to find out how you can have a more energy-efficient home. Simple steps anyone can take include unplugging or turn off your electronic devices when not in use, turning off the lights when you leave the room, switching to CFL or LED bulbs, hang dry laundry, research energy-efficient appliances, and properly sealing and insulating your home. Reduce water waste at home. Take shorter showers and fewer baths. Never let the tap run while brushing teeth or shaving. Use energy-efficient washing machines and dishwashers and run full loads. Repair leaky toilets and faucets. Install low-flow shower heads and faucet aerators and fix leaky toilets and faucets. Install a rain barrel. Use grey water for watering your garden. Making these lifestyle changes into habits isn't easy. Maybe you are already doing many of them, but being a conscientious consumer is better for your family and the environment. As the great Albus Dumbledore said, there will be a time when we must choose between what is easy and what is right. Teaching children conscientiousness for success. Do you know there's a success factor you can start installing in your child right now? It's a trait that the more predictive of success in life than any other skill or aptitude. It's the often overlooked trait of conscientious behavior. Conscientiousness. Your child may be too young to know the word, but that doesn't mean he or she can't grasp the concept. A sense of right and wrong is one of the first things parents instill in a child. At its most basic level, conscientious behavior is knowing what the right thing to do is and doing it. To a child, conscientiousness begins with simple tasks such as brushing teeth and picking up toys. As the child develops, conscientiousness expands to embrace complex ideas like telling the truth, keeping promises, and being responsible. In addition to encouraging these behaviors in your child, it's important that you set the same standards for yourself, providing a consistent model to learn from. For example, if you practice spending restraint to save for an important item, your child is more likely to learn the value of advanced planning and setting money aside. Study findings. According to numerous studies, conscientiousness isn't just one factor in achieving success. It is the single most reliable factor in predicting success at school and in the workplace. Recent studies by the National Institute of Mental Health and the National Institute on Aging have found that conscientious people are more likely to find employment and less likely to lose their jobs. They also tend to earn more money and report higher levels of satisfaction with their work. While these findings may seem predictable, others' findings are more surprising. Several studies show that conscientious adults experience less stress, have sounder physical health, and enjoy better social relationships. This is proved consistently true regardless of career choice, talents, and other personality traits such as openness, agreeableness, and extroversion. The image of the absent-minded professor and free-spirited artist may seem at odds with conscientiousness, but in fact both of these types succeed because they bring a high degree of organization and dedication to their endeavors. The success chain. Habits begun in childhood start building a success chain that leads not only to financial success, but success in health, happiness, and fulfillment. Researchers have speculated that the reason conscientious people have less stress is because they meet their obligations and avoid last-minute scrambles to finish their work or pay the mortgage. Their good health is the outcome of taking care of themselves and not skipping regular checkups. Social relationships flourish because others can count on them. You can help your child start building this success chain at a very young age. The rewards will remain forever. Doing your language learning exercises conscientiously. Some people take to their writing classes the same way they took to social studies back in grade school. Reluctantly. Funny thing is, these same people are likely taking a language course not because they need it to pass school anymore. Rather, they're doing it for personal or professional growth, so lazily going about it shouldn't even be a consideration. No one's threatening to ground you for not taking a class anymore, so if you're going to slack and fake your way to a passing mark, aren't you better served just doing something else with your time? In case you've decided that yes, you're going to embrace this whole language learning thing with your heart, we have one attitude we'd like you to keep in mind throughout it. Do it conscientiously. Don't just do it like you're going through the motions. Don't try to act like you're serious. Instead, do it with the fervor you would put in a work activity that will determine how much money you will make in the next 10 years. When you sit with your language learning software, really listen. If things don't make sense, pause it and go back until it does. Don't presuppose things will make sense later. Make them work right on the spot. When you're doing language exercises, keep a book or a reference handy. Refer to them anytime you need clarification, making sure you get every step right. Seek feedback wherever it is available. Chapter 3. Conscientious employees cost less. Attendance is one of the costliest problems businesses face. It is expensive when a number of employees don't show up for work, and it's even more expensive when a larger number come to work but fail to perform at levels they were hired for. Absenteeism and presenteeism are two sides of the same coin, paying for something without getting a fair return. This article answers the question, what can managers do to help employees feel more responsible about attendance that will lead to improved productivity? Two subgroups of workers exist in every workplace. The larger population, which is composed of employees that are unencumbered by chronic demands on their time at home, and the lesser one known as family caregivers. The first is free to make plans and schedule their time based solely on their own ability to keep those plans and appointments. Caregivers, however, must always consider the abilities and schedules of the person they are responsible for. Researchers found that more than 1 in 6 US workers also take care of others, which makes it useful to address their needs individually, especially since their costs run higher than the first group. However, there are more opportunities to reduce costs in this group through education and a little assistance. Presenteeism, as it's known in the world of business, is not about goofing off when employees should be engaged in productive activities, or about pretending to be ill to avoid a distasteful duty. Researchers define it more along the lines of coming to work but physically or mentally unable to perform at one's normal level. Manny Pacquiao's job that night was to compete against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a professional boxing match that was billed the fight of the century. Pacquiao lost, and within hours his team revealed that he had in fact fought injured. He had damaged his right shoulder while training in April and had not only failed to disclose it on a pre-fight questionnaire, but declared that he did not have a shoulder injury. It had partially healed by the night of the fight, but Pacquiao had been refused permission to receive an injection of legal painkillers before the fight, which might have helped him perform at a higher level. He later stated that he re-injured it during the 4th round, and he has since had surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff. Immediately, lawsuits were filed by discontented groups who felt cheated out of the money they paid to see two title contenders compete in fight-ready condition. Some claim Pacquiao's showing up constituted fraud, while others claim he made the right choice because it's unreasonable to expect anyone in professional sports to be at 100%, and it would have been much more costly to postpone the fight. Absenteeism versus presenteeism. This case may seem extreme, but the conflict is common and expensive. Every day, millions of employees have to make the same choice, whether to go to work or stay home because of circumstances that prevent them from performing to their full potential. Some of the top causes of absenteeism include illness, injury, disengagement, childcare, elder care, burnout, stress, low morale, substance abuse, and depression. Some of the top causes of presenteeism include can't afford to lose pay for a day, fear of losing job, chronic illness, injury, dedication to the company. There are many reasons for absenteeism, including how much and what kind of work there is to do that day, what's going on at home, how long it has been since the last sick day, and even opening day at the ballpark. Currently, the estimated lost productivity cost to US businesses from absenteeism is $84 billion. Presenteeism costs are much more difficult, if not impossible, to capture because the employee is present at work and there is seldom a way to monitor the level of lowered productivity. Recent estimates for annual productivity loss due to presenteeism range from $150 billion to $250 billion, which is 2 to 3 times the cost of absenteeism. Another matter to be considered, even though it can't be measured, is whether or not an error or accident occurred because of the employee's distraction. Is there anything that can be done to help reduce the amount of time off due to made-up excuses or meagre issues, without promoting even more presenteeism from honest workers? Is there anything that can be done to help reduce the number of times dedicated workers show up sick, without encouraging marginal employees to take even more time? The short answer is yes, but the two groups should be considered separately and treated equally. Discussions with the majority of workers who have the independence to make choices about attendance based solely on their own needs and desires have more to do with behaviours that can be modified easily with the right education, whereas dealing with the reasons caregivers are often absent or present are more complicated. Employees want everything they need from their companies to perform to the best of their ability. Employers want to give their employees everything they need, within reason, to do their best for their companies, and should expect them to perform to the best of their abilities. Both want to improve their company's position in the marketplace, yet it seems that in too many organizations, individual personalities develop an attitude of us versus them, which generates distrust of motives and objectives. The goal must be to first eliminate distrust through openness on the part of both. This would be a major shift for many, but today's successful businesses all tout the advantages of transparency between employee and employer. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Henry Ford. Employees and employers need to work together to reduce costs. Recognize and understand the problem, then try to meet each other's need. Be aware of unintended consequences when making the choice to take time off or when disciplining to control absenteeism. Have a policy regarding reasons for absence. Inform and educate everyone. Be consistent. Provide wellness programs. Use wellness programs. Provide paid sick days or paid time off. Be honest and conscientious when using sick days. Give plenty of advance notice for time off, whenever possible. Conscientious employees are always thinking about the effects of their actions. Helping caregivers can pay big dividends. Most caregiving employees are above average workers and highly self-motivated to do a good job when they have the opportunity. Their main drawbacks are that they have more personal events to deal with than non-caregiving employees, and that they have to consider not only their own interests and the company's, but the people they care for as well. They don't like taking unanticipated time off and will go to extraordinary measures to avoid excessive absences. For example, they may come to work sick and risk the health of their co-workers despite having all their paid sick days available, simply because they know it's likely they will need them for later caregiving-related issues. Studies from MetLife and others about the costs of low productivity due to caregiving all make the same recommendations to improve rates of absenteeism and effective presenteeism. Develop programs and services for working caregivers such as benefits such as flexi-time, telecommunicating, and job sharing. Programs to provide respite care, adult day services, and caregiver support groups. Informal, referral, and education programs. Employee and/or employer-funded long-term care insurance. While these benefits may be helpful for employees just starting to provide care, they aren't sustainable because the needs of the cared for can't be scheduled. When caring for a parent with age-related difficulties, for example, their condition usually only declines within relatively short blocks of time, so that what was adequate only a few months ago now isn't enough. Accommodations and concessions aren't the long-term solution to unanticipated time off or a disengagement while at work. Employees can't expect employers to provide ways to make their lives easier, nor can they expect forgiveness for excessive tardiness or absences. It isn't the nature of business to be caregivers to caregivers. Even though more companies than ever before are trying to help their employees resolve scheduling problems, the popular phrase being work-life balance, it's more beneficial for employees to point caregivers in the direction of a resource, so they can get help for themselves. Sometimes well-meaning supervisors unintentionally add to the attendance problem by expressing higher levels of compassion than would be appropriate for an employer-employee relationship. For example, they may tell an employee, "Family comes first," to ease their guilt about giving a last-minute notice when an emergency situation at home prevents them from showing up that day. What the supervisor is saying is, "I'm sorry you have this problem today, so we will excuse your absence today." What the caregiver may be hearing is, "I'm sorry you have this problem, take all the time you need, family always comes first." If caregiving employees don't understand that many times work comes first, it becomes easier for them to stay home each time. So what can be done? The same practices that work for all employees are helpful for working caregivers as well. But above all, caregivers need to know that they won't be penalized for opening up to their managers about their caregiving situations. In addition, talking about the needs of the company and listening to the needs of caregivers is essential to reaching common ground where solutions are developed. It can't start in HR, it has to begin with immediate supervisors. Employees need to know that they'll be supported by their companies as they work to find ways to manage their circumstances. With a little help and consideration from employers, they will make remarkable progress. Employers need to be reassured that their caregiving employees are working with their supervisors to reduce unanticipated days off and increase engagement at work, and that they are actually making progress. They should expect to see signs of real effort and honest cooperation. There is danger in saying too much at work, but there is also danger in saying too little. However, it's not talk that counts, but actual changes in behavior. Caregiving employees need to show that they are changing through accomplishment, no matter how small at first. Perception is everything, and the only way to overcome hesitancy or suspicion is to actually do things differently that create positive results. An adventure in conscientiousness and focused consciousness. Glance around you if you are in a room full of material objects, and tell me if they are not simply atoms and light vibrating to make them solid and hard-seeming, with different textures and that kind of thing. Sure, reality when looked at correctly is an adventure in manifestation, no matter how you look at it. You can look at it any way you want, but any way you look at it, something is always manifesting according to intention or purpose. All we have to do is make ourselves genuinely a part of that by putting out the effort to become a part of that. The real revolution is when we take disciplined control and shape circumstances through our own patient and understanding efforts. Sure, existence and God helps those who help themselves. But we must meet where this is halfway with our own efforts also. Life is what we make it, at every level that counts. And what do I mean by the word counts and the sentence every level that counts? I mean this. When we focus our efforts on a definite goal to create and work in reality, it does become a genuine, successful adventure in manifestation, so to speak. The real revolution is the genuine evolution of our own goals. Sure, before it evolves, it all has to revolve. That is a genuine given. But what you must realize is that everything is achievable. Everything. Rational or irrational, it is achievable if it exists as a concept in reality. Think about it. What is not possible in some way, shape, or form? There just has to be a way found for it to be done. That is it. To my way of thinking, any goal is achievable, really. All that has to be found are the rational means, even if the goal seems or is irrational. Ironically, the most seemingly irrational and far-fetched ideas have created the civilization we live in and all of the future advancements. To put it another way, the crazy fiction of today can be the fact of tomorrow. On the other hand, the establishment in the past is the history lesson of tomorrow, for integrating is all about evolving and revolving the future from the present. For conscientiously creating, the future comes from advancing from the now, not going, "This is it and I'm sticking with it." Sure, now is where it is at. Now is where we live, but we must all grow without fear if we ever want to really get anywhere. That is the rub. That is the mission and goal of all life and existence. The smallest order in existence is failure. Success is the largest. Make your choice. 5 things a conscientious money-making affiliate must remember. So you want to become a money-making affiliate. Affiliate marketing is still growing. It is one of the most renowned ways for businesses to make more profits as well as for marketers to earn money through the internet. A person can join a company that wants affiliate services, and then he or she performs plenty of duties so that the company's goods will become more known to the internet public. Here are ways in which an internet marketer can accomplish that well. 1. The money-making affiliate must have a website or blog of his or her own. That is the first requirement, because all the marketing will be done through the website and blog. Affiliates will write book on the websites or blogs, and they must also perform constant maintenance on the websites or blogs so that all the information contained will be fresh. The money-making affiliate must feature a company's products well. They can be done through descriptions, testimonials, and reviews. Of course, it will be best if the products are featured uniquely in an affiliate's website or blog and can't be found elsewhere, so that there will be fewer competitors. The money-making affiliate must be able to create tantalizing advertisements. Advertisements in the form of links directed towards the company's homepage will be what customers will click so that they can order featured products from the company, and once there are orders, the affiliate will earn money. The more customers, the more earnings. Advertisements must not appear too generic though, so that customers won't think they are clicking on what they think to be a marketing ploy. The money-making affiliate must maintain rapport with customers. Rapport is important to get customers to buy again. An affiliate who treats customers well will not only be viewed as friendly, but also as credible, and he or she will become a prosperous affiliate in the long run. Also, on the flip side, customers are easily turned off by marketers who prove to be untrustworthy in their reviews or pushy in their marketing styles. The money-making affiliate must hone affiliate marketing skills constantly. No one expects to get the whole affiliate marketing chore right the first time, but constant practice will enable one to write better articles, create better links, attract more customers, and become a better affiliate marketer over time. Organic gardening tips. 4 tips for the conscientious gardener. For the horticulturalist or simply the amateur home gardener who grows fruits, flowers, and vegetables in the backyard, there is certain information about gardening they should always keep in mind. This information is outlined in the form of some simple gardening tips in this article. Some simple gardening tips for you to follow. 1. Make sure that all the products you use are completely natural and free of chemicals, pesticides, and insect repellents. Use organic gardening to grow naturally healthy fruits and vegetables, because these are good for the community and environment as a whole. Organic gardening is natural and consequently safe in every sense of the term. It poses no health hazards but enhances the well-being of plants, animals, humans, and environments at large alike. On the other hand, the harsh chemicals that are used in gardening and growing food crops lead to many diseases such as lung problems, allergies, or even cancer. If gardeners refrain from using these dangerous products, then they are saving anyone who consumes their products from a lot of health hazards. 2. Look for non-toxic weed killers. These are available in organic gardening supply stores everywhere and are much more environmentally and medically safer than the ones found in the gardening sections of hardware stores. Organic products are guaranteed to be safe for everyone. 3. Read the labels of every gardening product you buy to make sure that they only consist of natural and chemical-free products. This will let your garden be totally organic in nature and much healthier than non-organic gardens. It is advisable not to let the personnel at the stores direct you. Simply don't buy it if it doesn't have all natural or organic written on the label. When in doubt, ask an organic gardening expert, especially those in stores. Write the names of the products down and find them on the internet. This is your best bet and the least risky one, and will allow you to find the perfect products for your organic garden. 4. Be absolutely certain that you use organic gardening tips taken from very reliable and trustworthy sources. Retail or wholesale outlets either do not have any organic products or have very little of them, and thus are not in a position to advise you in any way as far as organic gardening is concerned. Either through ignorance or deliberately, they will give you wrong information and probably discourage you to look for and use organic products, citing many reasons, none of which are reliable enough to trust. Organic gardening stores and the internet are perfect places to look for organic gardening tips. Chapter 4. How to distinguish a conscientious editor from an insensitive butcher. We live in a time where the simple act of writing makes a person a writer. Many writers simply write to please themselves. They often wonder what's wrong with readers who do not recognize the merits in their writing. They might also get offended by the suggestion that their writing needs an editor. Even so, the competence of a writer lies in the perception of the reader. Agent for improved communication. If you make changes to another's writing, then that makes you an editor. A conscientious editor acts as an intermediary between a writer and a reader. The value of an editor, therefore, comes from improving the reader's experience of the writer's work. Yet many who play the role of an editor do not see it this way. This leads to overcautious writers and zealous editors. When an editor is most needed. The work of an editor is particularly important on multi-author documents. Even when they are long-time colleagues, co-authors often differ in their practices regarding grammar, punctuation, capitalization, spelling, style, and level of detail. Sometimes even single-author documents present these inconsistencies as when the writer writes in varying moods or other conditions over time. These documents typically require editorial revision so that the reader experience may be uniformly positive. Unfortunately, many editors edit simply to please themselves. They often wonder why writers do not recognize the changes that they make as improvements. Herein lies the difference between a professional wordsmith intentionally acting as a conscientious editor and a less competent editor unintentionally acting like an insensitive butcher. Of drunken sailors. To some, editing provides an opportunity to turn somebody else's writing into their own. For example, some editors replace expressions that do not align with their preferences with expressions that they do prefer. If the editor is aggressive and the writer permissive, then the editor could erase much of the writer's own communication when transplanting his or her own perceptions and biases. Editors who do this go through the writer's work with the grace of a drunken sailor. Serving the reader is at best an afterthought. The document might emerge more accessible and understandable to the editor, but any gains in serving the intended readers arise accidentally. Of well-intentioned bumblers. Rarely do editors approach the role with malice. Many simply have too little awareness of their actual effect on the documents they edit. "Seems better to me," is their standard of excellence, as they remain unaware of how their own subjectivity determines their judgment of a document's merits. Of serving the writer. The chief task of a conscientious editor is to render documents efficient by accurately expressing ideas, sentiments, or facts. Effective by informing with objectivity and balance, persuading with clear logic and compelling emotion, instructing with clarity, completeness, and precision. A principle for efficiency. The shorter a document, the more likely it is to be read. Yet writing that seems terse often fails readers who need more help to understand, who want to enjoy reading, or who get offended on the perception of abruptness. Brevity is good, and it comes in degrees. A focus on relevance helps to avoid extreme brevity. Examples of effectiveness. To draw in its intended readers, a document must rapidly appeal to their interests. Then, it must deliver on the promise it makes. An editor could act as an agent for the reader, then, in suggesting alternative titles or the inclusion of subtitles. Likewise, when the writer includes sentences, paragraphs, or sections that do not serve the focus of the document, the reader's purpose in reading it, then the editor must excise them, no matter how satisfying their inclusion may be to the writer. In this way, effectiveness and efficiency are complementary. Of serving the reader. A conscientious editor improves a document's effectiveness according to standards defined by the reader profile. For example, if the intended readership comprises experts in the subject, then the editor should eliminate unnecessary explanations and help to emphasize the relevance and originality of the main concept. There are often clever ways to do this without the editor becoming a co-author. Of serving the message. Good editing includes analysis that focuses on how to increase the clarity of the writer's message while attending to the collective needs of the whole readership. For example, a metaphor used to make a point might distract some readers and need replacement with something better fitting the context. Alternatively, the writer might use expressions that reflect a visual bias, e.g., to see is to understand. These could be balanced with kinesthetic terms, e.g., to grasp is to comprehend, or auditory terms, e.g., what sounds right is accepted. The editor should make or suggest the slightest changes possible. Separating wheat from chaff. The simple act of strumming a guitar can make you a guitarist. It takes much more to become a true musician. The simple act of jumping into water can make you a diver. It takes much more to qualify as a diving instructor. To advance from being an editor by the simple act of altering text to being a conscientious wordsmith also takes much more. Of getting value. It can be difficult to find somebody who really makes your writing efficiently, effectively serve your readers. Documents that do this serve the writer too. Between complete draft and satisfied readership, a conscientious editor can play an essential role. May it now be easier to distinguish a conscientious editor from an insensitive butcher. Be a conscientious solo traveler. To a greater extent, more people prefer to spend their holiday vacations in discovering new destinations abroad. Recently, there have been trends in going alone for a holiday vacation. Solo travel can be a lot of fun, contrary to what most people think of as a boring setup. Traveling alone can actually be very rewarding and exciting. There are certain times that we want to spend some time away from the thoroughness of our daily, busy lives. Planning out a solo travel tour could stress you out, particularly if you are unfamiliar about your travel destination and how to find the best single travel deals. Here are guidelines that will help you enjoy a pleasurable and soothing vacation while keeping yourself safe at the same time. Be conscientious in making travel arrangements, and don't forget the basics. Have a duplicate copy of your important documents such as IDs, passport, and itineraries. Inform your family and friends of your vacation plan and when you will be leaving and returning. Travel around by means of a travel company. They usually have travel operators who plan vacations for single tourists. Since you travel on your own, it is likely that you will meet new people and make new friends within your tour group. Going out on a solo travel tour with a small group of people and a travel guide will help you stay out of harm's way. Travel companies typically cater to people in pairs. Solo tourists frequently get the shaft of it, and more likely they have to pay additional charges for the tour when they avail single travel deals alone. Thus, it will be worthy if you look for a single travel deals with the least fee. Finding out and learning as much as you can about the culture of people in your travel destination is one of the most excellent ways to keep yourself safe. In that manner, you do not give idea to the locals that you are a tourist. The World Wide Web is at your disposal in keeping yourself informed with the latest guidebooks about how the locals act and speak, what they wear, and what they eat. Make sure also to acquaint yourself with the local bylaws and customs. It is likely that you will become a prospect for theft if you act like the locals do. Mingle and make friends with other travelers. Solo travel can be lonesome, but it can also be fun. That depends on how you deal with the circumstance. When you get into a solo travel tour, it is good to make new friends with your fellow tourists within the tour group and the travel guide. Planning on travel alone and booking single travel deals do have intrinsic risks. The aforementioned guidelines will be able to keep you out of repressive situations out of the country. If you have smoothed out all the essential details about your trip ahead, you'll do just fine on your solo expedition. The new conscientious consumer. Who they are and how to connect with them. Emerging cultural codes. The foundations of change. Consumers are becoming more conscious on many levels. In fact, the way in which they are making decisions and expressing preferences within our culture is undergoing a fundamental change. So much so that the business community is overflowing with books and conference discussions about what is happening. Who are these conscientious consumers, and how should companies that provide consumer products go about connecting with them? The shift in consumer behavior is being attributed to a variety of factors. These include technology, the desire for engagement, self-determination and sustainability, to name just a few. All of these factors are most certainly in play, but they are the expression of a deeper groundswell of change and the emergence of a new set of cultural codes that define the way people behave across all areas of their lives. The way in which people consume is one of the most visible aspects of this change, and the most studied because it is the basis of profitability for so many companies. As such, consumer behavior provides an interesting insight into the dominant and emerging codes that define the very nature of the culture that we live in. These codes can be seen as the foundation on which all trends, fashions, and fads are built, and will be the starting point for this look into today's consumers. The context of cultural change. Cultural evolution and its impact on social and hence consumer behaviour is a continuum that can be traced back through history to the very inception of our engagement in commerce and trade. Looking back provides interesting insight into the way people consumed in the past, but also highlights the dominant codes that determine consumer behaviour today. It also allows us to make reasonable predictions about how that behaviour will change going forward. Looking back. Consumerism as we know it began to emerge after the conclusion of the Second World War. The manufacturing capability established to support the war effort was redirected towards the production of affordable consumer products for the emerging middle class. At that time, the dominant cultural code was conformity, stability, and normalcy. An understandable response to the upheaval and social trauma caused by World War II, and the basis of the white picket fence mentality where people tried to look and behave very much alike. Brands that appealed to this core cultural need prospered. This meant a huge demand for mass manufacturing, standardized products, and this consumption drove the incredible growth and prosperity of this era. To summarize the next 40 or so years, the 60s marked somewhat of a return to the notion of individuality, but this was not widespread enough to become the dominant cultural code. Recession in the 70s slowed things down significantly, and then the 80s and 90s were really all about bigger and better, very status-oriented. The wholesaling of previously luxury brands, supersizing of cars, diamonds, labels, and so on. What it means. What is interesting about this perspective on consumer behaviour is the consumer has not really changed at all. They continue to consume in a way that expresses the dominant cultural themes that define the era in which they live. They consistently seek to represent the values and display the status markers that garner approval and represent success as it is defined by their culture. So it is times that change, and to understand the conscientious consumer we need to understand the social context in which they consume, how that impacts their preferences, and molds their interpretation of value. Our life and times. So what is the cultural environment that represents the backdrop to this conscientious consumer? The codes are numerous, but a few stand out in terms of really driving the way that people consume. Consumers are looking for engagement with the brands that they purchase. They want a sense of self-determination and the opportunity to establish an individualized identity. There is growing distrust of large corporations, and people are replacing corporate with self-representation. There is incredible new access to information through technology, so consumers are significantly more informed and sophisticated. Finally, awareness, responsibility, and sustainability are the new status markers, and people are looking to represent these cultural values in the way that they spend. The conscientious consumer. So why the term conscientious consumer? Conscientious means several things in this context. Consumers are smarter and better informed. Their purchasing represents this by being either price-wise, as in a bargain, or reflective of the social values outlined above. They use peer-to-peer formats such as social networking to gather information, and don't take ads and corporate product representations at face value. They rely heavily on word of mouth to steer and then reinforce their choices, and spend a considerable amount of time researching options online before they buy. They are as focused on the experience of purchasing as they are on the attributes of the product that they buy, and they are prepared to spend significantly more if the product allows them to display the status markers defined above. They are also looking for more control in the purchasing process and the opportunity to differentiate themselves and emphasize their individuality. They foster a new interpretation of value that has more to do with what product says about who they are and what is important to them. So, they are conscientious in terms of how well informed they are, but also in terms of their connectivity with other consumers and the basis of their decision making as it pertains to cultural codes and values. Translated. So, what does this all mean to companies looking to thrive in this new space? All the debate and discussion associated with this shifting landscape, while fascinating, becomes academic if it doesn't translate into usable guidelines and recommendations for companies seeking to connect with these consumers. In order to thrive, companies need to understand what consumers are looking for and create products and experiences that reflect those things. Pick a pole. Purchasing is becoming polarized around two somewhat different goals: the hunt for a bargain and the desire to display the new, conscientious, and sustainable status markers. This is driving interesting phenomena called the death of the middle-class product. Simply put, people will buy products that represent the least expensive or will spend a lot more to buy novel, custom, luxury, or eco-friendly goods that satisfy the consumer's ideal representation of themselves. Much of what lies in between is starting to disappear. A good example of this is the demise of the American car industry that has been churning out mid-priced, average-quality product for decades and has failed to identify the need to be either cleaner, cheaper, or more luxury-based. Consumer products companies should pick their spot on this map around one of these poles and stay out of the middle. Create space. It is becoming clear that consumers are paying as much attention to the experience of purchasing as they are to the attributes of the products they buy. Companies are investing heavily in creating both physical and digital environments that conform to new patterns of spending. To generalize about these spaces, they are designed to create the sense of a community that is reflective in the growth of social networking. They are a fun and easy place to hang out and allow the consumer to explore in ways that feel inconsequential. In other words, the consumer does not feel like they are being sold on something or steered towards a decision. Finally, they are operating as an information resource to the consumer in order to develop trust or purporting to represent ideal values, such as sustainability. A couple of great examples of this are Anthropologie, on the retail side where they have set up areas in the store where customers can sit down and socialize. On the web, Trulia.com is a great example because of its use of chat rooms and information resources. The look and feel of the site is light, and there is no directive towards a transaction. Create a customizable product. Consumers are trying hard to differentiate themselves and demonstrate a level of individuality in the way that they consume. This being true, the more the consumer can manipulate the experience of purchasing the product or the product itself, the more able they are to satisfy this desire. NileGuide.com is a web-based travel company that allows you to research and plan your trip online. Nothing new there, but this company has differentiated itself by allowing the customer to create custom itinerary-based travel guides to take with them, collect or share with friends. This is a great example of a company that has tapped into people's desire for a custom product that allows them to project their individuality to the social sphere. Engagement and speaking the right language. It's not just about having the right product and the right space to sell it from. Consumers want and need to be engaged. Engagement is about establishing a relationship with the consumer over time and creating an emotional connection between them and your brand. Engagement means different things in different consumer environments, but always means getting customer loyalty and price desensitization. Engagement today means creating a compelling and authentic message that creates an emotional connection amongst consumers. Method has done an excellent job creating this connection by delivering a strong, eco-sensitive message in the context of household cleaning products. Keep it clean. Consumers have the information resources to check a company's message and brand identity against their corporate practices and values. Companies are required more and more to walk the marketing and PR talk that they have to become so expert in delivering. Keeping it clean means conforming to a higher set of values that can be communicated through the brand. Subaru is currently touting a new manufacturing facility with a zero carbon footprint, as a way to counter flagging auto sales industry-wide. Sustainability has become their mantra and works well with existing perceptions of what Subaru stands for. They are still selling cars. Understand the viral marketing opportunity. Consumer products companies must absolutely educate themselves on the ways in which purchasing has been changed by the internet. The importance of viral marketing, social networking, chat rooms, blogs and so on cannot be overstated. Understanding this world and learning how to use it is now more powerful than almost any other form of marketing. Sites like dailycandy.com, which are basically vehicles for consumer products, are increasingly popular and well known. They are where consumers congregate to check out what's new and get peer-to-peer validation of their choices. Familiarity with these sites and an understanding of how to leverage their influence is a critical factor in today's marketplace. Make money, make a difference with conscientious capitalism. Is conscientious capitalism the way of the future? Can good people help good causes like animals, charity, and the environment while still being able to make money? The revelation sweeping through business, including internet and online marketing, is this: people are more likely to actually take action to do good if there's also something in it for themselves. Selfish? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Pure altruism is noble, but nowadays we must be realistic. Most of us need more than that to really motivate us. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with making money by helping. If, for instance, more money can be raised for a great cause by motivating fundraisers through incentives, you've got a win-win situation that becomes a massively powerful tool for good. That's how conscientious capitalism works. The more we earn for our cause, the more we earn and the more people we can recruit to help us earn even more. Luckily, a new path for doing good in the 21st century has emerged during a time when traditional capitalism has landed us in some of the biggest, stickiest moral and practical dilemmas humanity has experienced so far. Environmental catastrophes, for instance, are reaching crisis proportions. However, a new paradigm has formed and is spreading like wildfire. You're productive and conscientious, so why is everyone else getting the recognition? Dwight is amazing at his job. He outsells everyone else, he follows all the rules to the letter, he stays on task at all times, he plays the recorder, and he has earned a purple belt. Yet time and again, Dwight gets passed over for recognition. He receives plenty of Employee of the Month awards, but gets turned down for raises and promotions. Although there are hardly ever any examples of real-life Dwight Schrutes to that extreme, one supposes because they get taken care of early in life on the school ground perhaps, most places of work have a few people who display some of his characteristics. These are the people who do a great job and outperform everyone else, but are constantly being passed over for higher positions. Why is this? Well, just like Dwight, it usually comes down to personality. No matter what job you are in, it is likely that you will have to interact with some people. This kind of interaction always highlights character flaws. And the sad thing is that most people suffering from Dwightness do not realize that the fault lies, at least in part, with themselves. If you find that you can relate to the symptoms Dwight suffers from, particularly being passed over, then perhaps it is time to take an honest look at yourself to see if the problem lies with you rather than with someone else. Granted, a prejudiced boss can really present a roadblock, but it is not always the boss that is standing in the way of your career. What is called for first is some honest self-analysis. Begin with how you react when someone is chosen for a promotion over yourself. If one of the first things you do is go to the coffee room or another area and complain that your qualifications are much better, it is a sign that perhaps you are not as good with people as you may have thought. It is better just to keep your mouth shut and talk to only a handful of people, preferably outside of the office. How do you handle it when you don't miss deadlines? Don't make a lot of external excuses as to why the job wasn't done. If the fault lies with you for whatever reason, admit it and move on. Remember that twice at the most is sufficient for reminding people, including your boss, about a job well done. More than that starts to sound like you think everyone else is an idiot or can't remember. Your managers have longer memories than you think. The key point we are trying to make here is to avoid sabotaging your own career. Like Dwight, you can be the top employee in every area, but just end up rubbing everyone the wrong way. This will lead to frustration both for yourself and for your fellow workers. Try to let your work speak for itself, and take responsibility only for you. Chapter 5. Conclusion. Conscientiousness is one of the super traits in the Big Five model of personality. The trait has 6 dimensions: self-efficacy, orderliness, dutifulness, achievement striving, self-discipline, and cautiousness. The conscientious consumer is shaping the consumer landscape and should be the subject of a great deal of attention for any company wishing to sell products into this market. Cross-referencing your product against the prevailing preferences of these consumers will ensure that you are presenting and projecting your offering in a way that is compelling in the context of today's consumer culture. Learning how to reach out to consumers by being a presence in the places that we already know they are spending time online is critical, and designing a distribution strategy that optimizes the opportunity for engagement with your customer will give your brand legs that will carry it forward into future opportunities. In brief, be a conscientious consumer product and move with the shifting landscape to create a continuous connection with your customer. There's still time to change and lead a more well-balanced life. The key is to be aware of who you are and what drives your actions and thoughts. Thanks again for buying my book. If you have a minute, please leave a review. I take reviews seriously and always look at them. This way you are helping me provide you better content that you will love in the future. A review doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences and a number of stars you find appropriate. Hopefully 5, of course. Also, if I think your review is useful, I will mark it as helpful. This will help you become more known on Amazon as a decent reviewer, and will ensure that more authors will contact you with free ebooks in the future. This is how we can help each other. Take a look at these other books too: bipolar disorder, borderline disorder, and schizophrenia. This has been Conscientiousness: How to Do More in Less Time by Unlocking the Power of the Mind. Written by Tyler Bourdain. Narrated by Thomas Cassidy. Copyright 2018 by Vincent Newt. Production copyright 2018 by Vincent Newt.